This is Advanced Math, Unit 11, Quiz Hints. Remember, you are allowed to work with friends on this, so call each other, video chat, get some help with this quiz. And this, again, as usual, these quizzes are difficult. So here are some hints. I am going to start off with number 1, and that is probably the most of work I'm going to do is in number 1. The rest I will talk about. Okay. For the ellipse, convert the equation to standard form, sketch, and identify its characteristics. Up here it says, use this group of equations for problems 1 through 4 in the quiz. 1, 2, 3, 4. They give you 4. One of them's a parabola, one of them's a hyperbola, one of them's an ellipse, and the other one is another parabola. There's 2 parabolas on this one. There are no circles. There's 2 parabolas because there's one parabola for the sideways and there's one parabola for the up and down. Okay, the first one they're asking us for is the ellipse. Ellipse, remember, has 2 squares, and the leading coefficients are not the same, and they have this. They're both positive. They have the same sign. Okay, so this one has only 1 squared. That one has only 1 squared. It's one of those 2. They both have different coefficients. These 2 are positive. One of these is negative. So this here is the ellipse. All right, so I'm going to write it down here. 4x squared plus 25y squared minus 8x minus 200y plus 304 equals 0. Okay, I am going to complete the square, and this is a double complete the square, so I'm going to regroup 4x squared minus 8x plus 25y squared minus 200 equals negative 304. I'm going to factor out only the 4. X squared minus 2x plus blank. I'm going to factor out only the positive 25. Y squared minus 8y plus blank equals negative 304 plus blank. Okay. Cut your numbers in half and square. Negative 2 cut in half is 1. Negative 1 squared is 1. Times the 4 is positive 4. Negative 8 cut in half is negative 4. Squared is 16. Times positive 25 is positive 400. And a lot of kids mess this one up when they're working on it. Even as a group, they kind of fumble up those numbers there. So just be careful when you're working on your own. X minus 1 quantity squared plus 25. Y minus 4 quantity squared equals, work all that out, you end up with 100. Divide everything by 100 and reduce. You get x minus 1 squared over 25 plus y minus 4 squared over 4 equals 1. Whew. Okay. That there is your equation in standard form. X minus 1 squared over 25 plus y minus 4 squared over 4 equals 1. Center. Opposite of the inside, outside stays the same. So, and x stays with x, y stays with y. So 1, 4. 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. Your A is the right and left with the X, that is 5. So I'm going to go right and left 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the B value is with the Y, and that is 2. So I'm going to go up and down 2. And make your oval shape. Your Hey Arnold head. Okay. Alrighty, vertices are on the major axis for an ellipse, and so those 2, so you just count. Now that you have graph paper, you can actually count. So it's negative 4, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 4. I'll let you do major axis, minor axis on your own. That's just the length here and the length there. Foci. Remember, you do c squared equals a squared minus b squared, or large minus small, so you don't have to worry about absolute value. So 25 minus 4. So C equals the square root of 21, which is approximately, just for graphing purposes, 4.6. So I'm going to go in the length of in the direction of the major axis, and the major axis is running right and left. So I am going to go right and left for the foci. So right and left 4.6. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's really close to the vertices, but not on it. It's just really, really close. All right, so from the center, I went right and left. Remember, when you're running right and left, that's your x value from the center that's changing. So 1 plus or minus the root 21, comma, the 4 did not change. That point right there and that point right there still went up 4. Okay, eccentricity is your C over A or B, depending on which one's bigger. 5 is bigger, so C over 5. What is C? C is root 21 over 5. Plug that in your calculator and get a decimal. That's what goes here. This as a decimal goes there, so plug it in your calculator. All right. I do want to talk about the back page, so I'm going to move on to the back page now. Number 3 is the next one I want to talk about, and it says find the hyperbola. They just listed the same exact one. I've already used this one. That was the ellipse. They're just putting it so you don't have to keep flipping back and forth. Hyperbola, 2 squares with a negative. One of them has to be a negative. That's that one there. So I'm just going to rewrite it. 4x squared minus y squared plus 24x plus 2y plus 19 equals 0. Because there are 2 squares, we are going to complete the square twice and do some rearranging. 4x squared plus 24x minus y squared plus 2y equals negative 19. And by complete the square twice, I mean doing it with the x and then with the y. So take out a 4, x squared plus 6x plus blank. Factoring out, and this is why I'm going over this one, because a lot of kids forget you're taking out a negative 1. You don't have to actually write the 1 there, but you should know you're taking out a negative sign so that it's y squared minus 2y, and a lot of kids mess that up, plus blank equals negative 19 plus blank plus blank. 6 cut in half is 3. 3 squared is 9. 4 times 9 is 36. Negative 2 cut in half is negative 1. And negative 1 squared is 1. And negative 1 times 1 is negative 1. Okay. 4 quantity squared minus 1 quantity squared. That's going to be x plus 3, y minus 1. Plug all that in your calculator. You end up with 16. And I'm going to let you finish after this next step. Divide everything by 16. That becomes a 1. Reduce, reduce. That is your standard form, and then you can find all the bits and pieces. You can use your notes. You can call a friend, phone a friend, get some help. All right. The last one I want to talk about is number 4. And this one is asking for the parabola that opens right, left. So specifically, there's 2 left. Let's see, we've used these 2. Both of these are parabolas because they both have only 1 squared. Which one is the one that opens right or left? The ones that open up and down are the y equals x squared. Just a reminder, y equals x squared opens up or down. X equals y squared opens right or left, depending on positive or negative. Okay, so x equals y squared is the one we're looking for because it's the one that opens right or left. So y, we're looking for the one where the y is squared. That's that one there. Y squared minus 8x minus 6y plus 1 equals 0. Now, in a previous video where I did the review worksheet, I talked about parabolas specifically because kids forget how to write parabolas in not standard form. Remember, we're doing vertex form anytime it says a parabola. So even on the previous page here, for this parabola, we're doing vertex form. Okay, so whenever it's asking us for vertex form for parabola, or even standard form, you're still going to complete the square, but with parabolas, you're only completing the square once because there's only one squared. So y squared minus 6y, and anything that's not a y goes to the other side, equals 8x minus 1, positive 8x minus 1. There's no leading coefficient to factor out, so I'm going to go straight to my blanks on both sides. Negative 6 cut in half is 3, negative 3, and negative 3 squared is 9. No number in the front. And I get y minus 3 quantity squared equals 8x plus 8. I will let you finish from here. You are going to subtract the 8, divide by 8. If you are stuck, look back at the video where I did worksheet 2 towards the end. I did one very similar to this. If you're stuck, go back and check that. Check your notes, check your homework, phone a friend, get some help. All right, I'll let you guys finish the rest. It's a lot of hints I gave on this one, a lot of work. The rest you can do on your own or with a friend. That is it for this session of homework hints.